It is 7 PM. Commissioner Kobe? Here. Commissioner Cummins?
Here.
Commissioner Guzman?
Here.
Commissioner Hazen?
Here.
Commissioner Reitman?
Here.
I would like to introduce. This is Danny. She is our summer intern.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah.
No.
Do you want to tell our board a little bit about yourself and your school and why you're here? Come on up.
Yeah. Right over there. Yeah.
Come up to the microphone. Oh, go right to
Podium.
this one right here.
Yeah. That one.
Testing. It's working.
Yes, my name is Danica Ferris. I go by Danny. I go to school at Oklahoma State University, but I'm from Wichita, Kansas. So yeah, I'm studying recreation athletic management, and I'm really excited to be here.
Very cool.
That's what I studied.
She has never been to Chicago before. She's actually staying in Chicago in dorms.
South
Like
Loop.
this,
Oh, really?
this,
Wow.
she's great.
Do you take the Metra in? Is that?
I've been driving, unfortunately. That's gonna end very soon.
So, yeah. Take the train, learn how to walk the city.
Yeah.
I'm from Wichita, Kansas, but I go to school in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Yes, that's amazing.
Really?
Yes, that's my favorite. Have you had the cheese fries?
No.
You have to go. It's a staple.
I've not been to Stillwater. I highly recommend it.
Never. I'm gonna have to.
Never. Absolutely not. That's the one college I wasn't allowed to go to. Yeah. Yes. Indeed.
Oh, no
Yes.
way, how
In
cool.
fact, yeah. And then I was like, oh, Glencoe, that's so cool. Yeah. And now I'm here. So, no, I don't know anybody. Yeah.
You know us.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
This summer,
Will do.
we have a really individuals that are working.
Yeah.
The summer is given are gonna be,
Absolutely.
got Shannon at the beach, you've got Adam, lots of people going around.
Please.
Ask them as many questions as you want. Don't ask them too many questions.
Okay, noted.
You- you're gonna learn.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm very grateful.
Right.
Famous,
Very
like, if
brave.
you need any tips on Chicago or South Loop,
Yes.
feel free to reach out.
Any and all would be very helpful.
If you- okay,
I don't
next
think you
year
know
with
the
Jackie.
places she wants to hang out.
Listen,
May have aged out to the places she wants to go.
No, got it. I still
That's
go
what
down
he
there a
meant.
lot.
Okay.
21, yeah,
Oh,
so,
that's-
yeah,
I got it.
yeah.
Seeing that we've not had public here, we're going to that section and we'll complete bids for the Glencoe Beach project. On the bids that we have.
I will. Do all the board members have the memo with
Oh,
them?
yep,
I think
yep,
Kurt
we're
got something
passing out
out,
now.
so-
Oh,
If an-
I do not have the
okay.
memo. I have the printed one or the one from online. Okay.
This is more detailed one because we
Yeah.
just had opened the bids after the packet went out, so
Okay.
So we'll, I'll-
process, we had to do some
Thank you.
research and stuff, so.
so I'll run through the memo pretty much top to bottom because it's obviously
Thank
the
you.
first time you all have seen it. So we'll go section by section, stop me if you need to, certainly discussion at the end. So as Lisa indicated, we opened bids for the beach improvement projects last Friday. We received a total of 2 bids. The 2 bidding companies were Shapkus Brothers and Stuckey Construction. The first table breakdown you'll see is the bid breakdown. For Shapkus Brothers, the lowest apparent bidder for the beach house interior work, so everything inside the walls, $1.68 million. Site improvements, so that's going to be the trellis, the sun shelters, the boardwalk, $1.26 million. Playground and spray feature components, $987,000 for a total base bid of $3,926,500. We do have a $500,000 owner purchase items for the lockers and the physical shelters and trellis structures for a total projected construction cost of $4,426,500. We did request for alternate pricing in 5 areas on the project. That's the second table you'll see midway down page 1. So the first alternate was concrete walk around the west side of the boathouse. So this would be the back side of the boathouse between the bluff and where those new modular lockers will go. The second alternate was concrete walk and ramp east of the boathouse. So that's existing concrete as well as decking material and ramp from the boathouse towards the water. Our third alternate was an electrical feed from the halfway house to the sun shelter. There was a no bid on this. Staff is comfortable completing this work internally, so having a no bid on that's not a concern. Alternate number 4 is anodized finish to the boat racks. So in lieu of raw aluminum, a $40,000 alternate for anodized finish on the boat racks. And lastly, alternate 5, $11,500 for integral color for the concrete on the boardwalk to match the pier, for a total alternate pricing of $100,900. So the construction budget on this project was $3,620,000. So we do have on the base bids, a 22% overage or $806,000. If we accept all alternates, $907,000 of overage or 25%. Obviously, want to kind of talk through what some of the circumstances we think could have led to that. There is one item that we are confident in that rose up those prices, and that's longer, deeper into design development. The engineers determined that the trellis, so the larger structure on the south side of the boathouse, the existing columns could not support constructing a new roof upon that. So an entirely new structure has to be purchased, reinstalled, which would involve removing the footings, the stone veneer or the stone columns, and then reassembling that around the structure. So that came with an approximate price tag of $300,000 to $400,000 in unforeseen costs that were only realized after budgets had been set. The additional overage, it's somewhat anecdotal, but we believe it to be the current kind of market conditions. The price of everything is going up, uncertainty with gas prices, commodities, and just generally the competitiveness of the bid market is really hard to predict. We don't know what that market's going to look like when we set our budgets, nor when we bid it, and we are at the mercy of the bids that we receive. So turning to the next page, obviously over budget on the bids received, but thought it was important to paint it through the lens of the overall fund balance and Fund 68. So Fund 68, again, is our referendum funding source. That fund is to fund the maintenance and ball field projects, the beach projects, and the greenhouse. So only those projects can be funded out of Fund 68. So while the bids came back unfavorably here on the beach project, we do have quite a bit of surplus on the maintenance center and ball field project to the tune of $840,000 in construction alone. Additionally, we have a surplus in both the beach and maintenance center design budgets to the tune of $290,000 collectively. So you're seeing some offsetting there in terms of surplus versus deficit. So really then it brings us to the table breakdown you see in the middle of the page here. Just to kind of walk through, on the left column we have the project. Second column we have the established budget combined for design, construction, and FF&E. And then the projected or actual for those projects, surplus or deficit in the second to last column. And then the final column is showing that Fund 68 spend down. So really I'll start there to walk through our $15 million Fund 68, so referendum bond proceeds. We have earned approximately $1.4 million in interest income on those bonds. That includes actual and projected interest. And then we start taking off from that 16.4 the project costs along the way. So we have the maintenance center with the projection of 7.7 million, bringing our fund balance down to 8.6 million. The beach project, as we're discussing here tonight, if accepted along with all alternates, would draw that down to $3.8 million. The greenhouse draws it down to essentially $3 million, which leads us to the final project in the referendum, which is the stairs retaining walls, which we had earmarked $1.6 million, assuming that project, which design will be next year, construction in 2028. If that budget were to hold true, we would still have an ending fund balance in Fund 68, a surplus of $1.48 million. So really want to be sure to paint that picture of we have other projects that have come in under budget. This project has come in over budget on bids, really to kind of set the tone for discussion on how the board would like to proceed.
I have some questions.
Sure. Yep.
Let's go back. Why is there such a difference in the site improvements? Like what's included in site improvements?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Why is there such a huge difference in the site improvements? So Stuckey came in at 1.69, Schaefer's Brother came in at 1.26. Like why is there such a difference and what's included in site improvements?
So site improvements is the trellis, so the structure on the south side of the beach house, the sun shelters on the north side of the beach house, the boardwalk adjacent to that, and the lockers and the boat storage racks. The difference between one contractor's pricing to the other, it's really hard to know how they factor their unit pricings, their time and labor. That's something that they calculate with their own formulas internally, and we see variance in budgets on projects, bids on projects all the time.
Have you worked with either of the two?
Shapekis is the
It's a good
contractor
Oh, sorry.
on the greenhouse.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes,
that's right,
so,
that's right, that's right.
we do have familiarity with them on that project. They have lots of Park District experience. They were also the lowest bid on the greenhouse with a larger number of bidders as well, which tells us that they are competitive on these types of
And if
projects.
I recall, there wasn't an overage.
On the greenhouse, there was an overage, and
By
yeah,
how much?
it's on the backside, so a total overage of 155,000.
Oh, I
That
apologize.
was-
I'm sorry.
yeah. That was our choice because we chose the stone.
Correct.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
It was that, and then also a ComEd, we had to put in a longer utility run. That was a major component as well that came.
Nothing to do with
No.
That's what I was going with.
Yep.
is-
Yeah.
No
is it-
change orders, unless we ask.
Unless we ask.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Did you like the work that they, I mean, I think the final product looks awesome. How are they to work with?
They were great to work with. So they were easy to communicate with. Lots of the delays are really weather related and timing, and we ultimately, I think we ended like 3 weeks behind schedule, and really not at fault of the contractor.
They're very well known
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
industry, very
Yeah.
checked references. They come
Mhm.
with great references. A lot of Park District use them without any issues.
So then where we have here in the back where the projection is 4.83 million.
Mhm.
That 4.83 is based on Stuckey.
No, the 4.83 projection is including the bid package from Shafkus Brothers in the amount of $3,926,000 plus our $500,000 owner purchase and design costs, which aren't broken out here, but I touched on it in the breakdown. So that's why that 4.83 is larger
And
than
is
what
it
you're.
alternate also? Do we add?
And alternates, and
Yes.
accepting alternates, correct.
Okay. So it
So we just assumed,
assumes-
but we can take the
If- yeah.
alternates out if we want to, but we put that in the final price.
Deduct $100,000 if not accepting alternates. Mhm.
So I should remember this, but I don't. When we vote, when the community votes on a referendum, are they voting on a total number? Are they voting on a project by project?
Total
budget?
number.
Total number, okay.
Yes.
Is it unusual to just get 2 bids?
Typically we want to get at least 3. That's typically what we're shooting for, and more is always better. We had 18 plan holders. Some of them were subcontractors, but I think we essentially had probably 10 to 12 general contractors who held the plans. We only received 2 bids. It's potentially the type of project and where it's located. It's a tricky location. It's
And we
And it's
think
a lot
that, we
different
that
parts.
really
Not gonna be an
does.
easy job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it does also figure into how they bid them out, so a little
Mhm.
higher because of how hard that site is to
Mhm.
access and the conditions, it's a harder site
Yeah.
Yeah.
to manage, so people, I think would be indicative why we got 2.
And then on the roof, the trellis,
Mhm.
if you could just remind me, we are doing a new roof because we need to do a new roof?
We
or
need,
Because we want to do a new roof?
need to do a new roof. So the existing is reaching the end of has reached the end of its useful life. And then through community input, the gabled roof option was chosen. Yeah. Yep. Mhm.
I like the one that we chose.
Mhm.
Do we have any sense of with the other one? I can't remember. I think they were kind of a wash pricing wise, right?
Yeah,
We were
engineering said it
estimating?
was more or less, it was basically a wash. We did not request alternate pricing for that style roof because I think the community, spoke pretty
Did,
loudly
they
about the
did,
percentage.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Remind me, you just said site improvements include some of the lockers, but on the other hand, we have $500,000 for owner purchase. What's the difference?
Yep. So the owner purchases are those modular systems. So the ones that we're going to purchase and anchor.
Those white ones.
The lockers that are under the contractor scope are the ones that are being built, stick built and wrapped in
Gotcha.
fiber cement board.
Yeah, the one, I remember now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the shelters and trellis are a big chunk of that as well, the actual physical material purchase.
Out of curiosity, what is an anodized finish?
So anodized is basically, you'll take raw aluminum if you're using it for whatever purpose, and it gets dipped in a solution and it gets a current passed through it. And it basically allows the aluminum to create like a protective exterior that doesn't weather or oxidize as nearly as quickly as raw aluminum. So with aluminum, as it weathers, it won't typically get like brown rusty, but it gets like a chalky kind of faded finish. Anodized will resist that from happening.
And remember, the board talked about wanting that finish over.
It's a different look as well then.
Initially, they look similar. Anodized will hold its look longer in outside conditions than raw.
I have a whole bunch of questions.
Sure.
I'm actually more curious about the maintenance in the ball field. How is that a million? I mean, that's 15-20% under budget, and we
Yep.
understand the 25% over budget for the greenhouse. Walk me through that.
Yep. So maintenance, slightly different. We're under a guarantee maximum price contract, but we set our budget based on our engineer's estimates that we got 2 years ago.
Yep.
We built in quite a bit of cushion in that project budget for unforeseen conditions, expecting to find things underground, soil conditions, contaminated soil. And
It's
Material.
happened
We've
before that
largely-
site, so that's why.
we've largely gone without having to touch that. We were able to accommodate stormwater without any crazy, lift stations or pumps. And so it was a cushion of contingency for unforeseen that we were expecting to see that we just did not see. Different bid climate as well, I will say. That
Yeah,
was bid out
absolutely
over
different
a
bid
year
climate.
ago. That's
Yeah, I think,
yes.
look, and
For the Iran war, really.
Yes.
I think we're seeing real estate pricing go up. I think you're seeing a challenge of labor in this market. So I
Mhm.
can understand that labor rates are going up.
Mhm.
We still have challenges with tariffs that we didn't have 14 months ago. So I can understand why things are going up. What concerns me more than anything is, we've made a commitment to the taxpayers on the stairs and the retaining wall.
Mhm.
And if we can't necessarily fulfill that obligation, that concerns me. So I'm like looking at this, it all looks great. We can make, oh yeah, maybe we can save 110,000, but like this to me is concerning.
Can I answer that question?
Yeah.
We do actually have a fund in Fund 69, that we could only spend this money on
This is
this
required,
project.
yeah.
But we have money which we've saved from other projects that we can make up that difference from Fund 68 and transfer over. So
Fund
we can
69.
still do, 69.
Now,
Right.
right
We can
now,
still do
show
the
it-
stairs and we can still do the.
Just to clarify, on the bottom line for that last table,
Yeah,
We have
we,
a surplus
in
of
under
a
Fund
million.
68 have 1.6 earmarked, budgeted for the stairs, ramps, and retaining walls. If we stay on that budget, we will still be 1.4
Sorry.
surplus on.
Stairs and retaining walls go through design and community input in 2027 with
Correct.
construction 28.
Correct.
Current budget to fund stair replacement, wall tuck pointing, and ramp resurfacing. You allocated 1.6 million from the referendum
Correct.
for that.
Correct.
The referendum will go down if we do this to 1.5 million, in which then you can say, if the stairs come in at 2 million, we can move 500,000 over from Fund 69.
No,
no.
The
no,
funds will
actually-
already be there in Fund 68. So basically what we're projecting out here is we're going to
Right.
have $1.5 million left in Fund 68, assuming the stairs project is on budget. And with that 1.5 million, we have a variety of options. We can roll that into other projects that are not as limited in
It's-
scope.
I don't think he understands that.
Yeah.
When you have when it says that greenhouse, the 3 million, we're subtracting the 1,600,000 off that. So we'll have $1,479
I would've-
left.
I'm assuming that you start off with 15 million, you add 1.4, which is also projected. How much of that is projected?
About half right now, but
So you've got 16.4 million.
Yeah.
Projected.
Yep.
You're taking away 8.6.
Yep.
You're taking away 3.8.
Yep.
You're taking away 3.1.
Yep.
And then you are not taking away 1.6?
You're taking away 1.6.
Then take away.
Taking away
Yes.
1.6 and you're left with 1.5.
Yeah, after it's over.
Got it.
Got it.
Oh,
Okay,
I see what
that's
you're
it.
saying. Okay.
So
Maybe-
there's the
but I-
1.5
I-
cushion.
Yes.
It
Of
could
course, we have-
double in price and we'd be
We
okay.
have a cushion.
Yeah.
If we decide to do more ramp
Yeah.
work, we actually have more money left.
I mean, I think ultimately, so it sounds like you're going to be okay. My question is then, this is great. I'm glad we're going to be okay. But I still want to be cognizant of the fact that we're spending, 800,000 more than we want to. Is there any cushion in today's? Like, is the 500,000 really 500,000? Is there cushion in today's? And then, is there anything that we would do differently? I see you have differently in terms of additions. Is there anything that you would do differently in terms of subtractions?
I would talk through what level of I guess, scope reduction the board would be interested in. I mean, we start outside project wise. I mean, be talking about removing playground elements or spray features, things like that. I mean, major items to move the needle substantially would be, really changing the look of the sun shelters and the
Yeah.
trellis. Those sorts of big ticket items would obviously change the project
Yeah.
to a large extent. Interior finishes as well. I mean, all the stuff that we went through to unravel that and bring it back to like cinder block or something like that would be the types of things we would have to do if we were really interested in value engineering
Yeah.
in a significant way.
I mean, I'm glad that we have this, this surplus from the maintenance center.
But that can be eaten up real fast.
It can, and like, look, if for whatever reason, we end up going 25% over, because we did 25% over the greenhouse. We've now at 4.8 over 4, you're at 20% over from our budget for the beach project. I want to feel confident. Right now, it looks good. Like, I'll
Yep.
be honest, it looks
Yep.
good. We are robbing Peter to pay Paul. We didn't have contingencies there. We can spend it. But it does make me a little bit nervous that we've had 2 major projects that have gone over by 20%.
Sure.
You have to
I
remember,
agree.
when we're doing budgets, it's an estimate before we even really get into design with the board. So
Yep.
some of this escalation is based on the design that the community wanted
Yeah.
and the board approved. So there is escalation there too. So you either decide to do the project the way the community wants it now
Yep.
or cut back, and it would probably have to be substantial, like the finishes in the beach house and taking
mean,
away
yeah,
all the
look,
spray
we could remove
features.
the
or-
trellis completely and save $700,000, right? 300 or 400,000 on the thing. I'm not saying we're removing the trellis, but like, that's an option. We have to figure out, seeing numbers like this is not going to help me with my sundown issue. But seeing numbers like this, it does make me sort of think, I do think we're going to be okay. I think you guys are smart enough. I think you guys are wise enough. And I think you have an extra million over there. But I'd love to protect us as much as we can. From either of these, is this a maximum bid?
What's it? I'm sorry.
Is this a not to?
It's not a
exceed?
guarantee maximum. No, it's not.
Do any of them have a desire to do a not to exceed?
If we were to do that, we would have to get a contract, pretty much a proposal from a
Yeah.
construction manager. It would be a completely different approach. It would be paying a construction manager to give us a GMP that then would bid it out by trade. Likely that GMP would be higher than the bids because they're going to give themselves cushion for, bid uncertainty. So
You would see
if that was-
escalation even more.
yeah.
I guess I would
It-
say it like here's how I'm feeling, because I'm feeling a lot like this is where I'm like, my head is at. It's almost $1 million over.
Mhm.
So like, if you do math, that's significant.
Sure.
It's different when it's, say, a couple 100,000, like you almost expect a little overage. But when it gets closer to $1 million, that's where we're sort of like, I have to put my hat on it a little bit and be like, wait, what are we like, what are we doing again? It's not that I'm saying no to it. It's just, to your point, are there subtractions or is there something in the way the bids have come in where we can, sharpen the pencil a little bit?
I think it would come down to either rebidding or going back to the design team and seeing what areas we could
Yeah.
cut or draw back.
Or the other option is, which I don't know how much time we have in terms of this, is, look, we're in a time right now, lumber is ridiculously expensive right now. Building costs are ridiculously expensive. You're not seeing new housing go up because of these costs, which is a plus and a minus. On the plus side, because people aren't building new homes as much, you have labor that can help you out. On the minus side, materials are expensive. So you could also wait. You could say, you know what, let's come back in 6 months. I don't think that's where we want to go.
No, I don't think
but
that's where we
that's an
wanna go.
option. I mean, my overall take on this is a little bit disappointed that we're not going to get solar on the.
Oh, that's not necessarily
it's
true.
okay.
Absolutely not necessarily true.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
No.
But my hunch on this is like, I can't tell if we're lucky that we saved $1 million over here and are spending $1 million over here, or
Yes.
like I just,
It-
I'm
it
struggling
happens
with that.
the
We
market
may be,
shift.
we
Yeah.
may just, look, we may be lucky. It sounds like we are, but I'm not, I always
mean,
question my luck.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, given where things are going, how do I know? And we don't know, but this is why it gives me like caution to say, we're already over close to $1 million. That-
22%. Yeah.
I
okay.
I could see that number tipping over that million.
It's possible with.
It is.
Yeah,
It's certainly
Foreseen
possible.
condition, but we have a
that
contingency,
cushion,
right?
yeah.
I mean, we still have, that's the thing, we still have 1.5 left, plus if you want to.
But we have contingency in this project too, right?
Just the one unforeseen thing, it sounds like that, and I don't know how much is driving up the price, but that the big sun shelter or
Yes.
whatever that,
Trellis,
the
yeah.
trellis. I mean, I don't know if it's worth it or not. I'm not advocating for this. That's the only thing where if it were, let's just say me doing my own project and I found that out, like, oh my gosh, we have to rebuild those pillars and like the whole thing is going to be, if it's going to be significantly more expensive, I'd be like, let's just make it look like, take off the top, put on the new wood and, have it be, but I don't, again, the community may have really wanted that full shelter. They may really want the whole thing. We don't know.
Mhm.
If given like the pricing and the, like what they would choose, but that's the only component that out of everything, that's the only component where I'm
That's
like,
the big, that is the one big ticket item, and that's the
Yeah.
one where it's like, can we survive a little bit? Do we wait?
Yeah.
The truth is that like, if you all came to me and said, we don't have this 1.5 million and we didn't have $1 million savings, I would be like, we are not doing the trellis and we're moving on. Like, I don't feel like I'd be comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me like, maybe we did get a little bit lucky here. We didn't find oil tanks underneath the maintenance center. We didn't find skeletons in our closet there and we lucked out. But I'm gonna shut up and
Yeah,
let
you look
Mr.
at it
Finance
as,
talk. I want to hear your perspective because like this is on you. I'm not here in a year and you are. So I want to hear your thoughts.
No, I think you're right. I think there's an element of, we were fortunate with the bidding on, not necessarily not finding contingencies, but just the bid climate at that point. We were also fortunate, if you remember, when we issued the bonds with the market.
Yeah.
We were looking at 15 million in proceeds initially. And that was the product of the premium that the
Right.
bonds were issued at, along with the interest rate environment at the time. So we were fortuitous there also. I'm comfortable with it and with the overall budget and where we stand. And, I think we have enough worked in for a contingency for the stairs, and the phase 3, the remainder of phase 3 of the beach, from the bond proceeds themselves. And, to Lisa's point, we've been, our strategy isn't just to fund our capital with these bonds. We have other sources of revenue. We have the operating transfer that I think we can, confidently say is going to be there, this year and upcoming years, just given the results of our operations. So overall, I think it's just a product of the differing bid climates when they were bid out, and that net off is I
yes.
think, yeah.
Take away 700,000 from interest income. Suppose interest rates fall tomorrow. Now,
Uh-huh.
interest rates fall tomorrow. That is probably going to be a very good guy on some other things because the other parts of the change in the
Right.
economy. Take away that 700,000. So let's not forecast that. And you've just lost $700,000. How do you feel?
Very limited risk for that because we're locked up.
Yep.
No, we're locked up.
You're locked up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're locked
And-
up and we have these
What?
maturing in line.
You
Um,
bought
Treasury
three.
Treasury bills, correct.
You bought
Treasury
5
bills,
year, 4
TDs,
years,
correct.
3 year, 1 year.
We align the investments with the project, with the project needs. So really, there might be a few CDs or a little bit of liquid money that could be impacted by a dramatic shift in interest, but it would be minimal.
Okay.
When you go
I'm trusting you. It's on the record. So
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
When you go into a project like this, I mean, is that part of your goals to kind of guess? You're guessing,
Yeah.
you're going to be plus in certain areas. Like when we see
Absolutely.
the green here, we kind of go, oh, look how smart we are, how lucky we are. And then we see the blue, red, and we're like, what the heck's wrong with us? So which one is it? Like,
We didn't forecast that those, the columns would be that,
yeah.
no.
that was it. It was, and the economy, Iran war started in all this. We didn't forecast any of that. It was kind of like around COVID. Like we got killed at that time.
oh, that was the best.
We
Every
couldn't,
project came in, like when we did Connect Glencoe, that was the greatest thing ever.
but before that, it wasn't. One came really high. Weinberg, I think right? We stopped it because it came in so high. So I think at the end of the day, we told the taxpayers that we were going to spend this money on these projects. So say we take 800,000 out, now we're ahead 2 million, whatever. Well, what are we going to do with that money? It's supposed to go to these projects. So I think
Yeah.
it's supposed to go to these projects, and we can't take that money that we're saving here and put it someplace else.
Yeah, I was
So-
gonna ask, let's just say we've come in, we finished the stairs in a year
Yep.
at the 1.6
Yep.
and we have 1.4 left over.
Right.
What do we do with that?
Well, there's
So-
a lot of different things that we could talk about
Yeah.
as that comes. Let's wait till it comes.
Right,
But
right,
there's things
yeah.
like we could abate it. We can
project.
put
Anna.
it towards, maybe there's
That's great.
other
Dog beach.
like ramp projects, because we said we could use this for ramp. Maybe there's other things that for the.
But it has to
ramp
stay
we could
within
do.
this purview.
Yeah.
Has to stay.
Yeah, it has to
There-
stay-
there
Has
is-
to be-
No, there is,
Spent within a certain time period.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, then
Can't be
I'm,
spent.
Hold on.
I was just gonna say the interest earnings on the
Yes.
proceeds can be, there's a little more,
Oh,
it's
latitude.
not as restricted in
Because it
terms
wasn't
of scope.
part of
So
it.
there is
There
a
is a
little,
timing, there's a
not
timing
on the
element to it.
interest. It's
There
it's
was on
the
the-
proceeds that we have the
Like-
95%.
this is
spend
basically a
down.
slush fund.
No.
No.
Oh, we don't like that word. We don't like the word slush fund. But, I would say we should, if we earn the interest, like
Slush-
John might disagree with me, but you can use it for the beach, whether, if we have other ramp
Right.
projects or, tuck pointing other places on there, we could use
We
it.
don't want to be known as an entity that I think has said to the public, and we had tons of public opinions. We're gonna do the greenhouse. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. And then we skimp
Right.
over there and then do something that's not.
Yeah.
You don't want to be an
100%.
untrustworthy entity. So I think we are gonna
At our
put money in.
Probably most visible asset.
I also think it's worth noting, I think the trellis does matter a lot to
Oh,
the
it totally
community.
matters.
So
It's
it's
a huge
not,
one.
it's not like
No,
a
it's not nothing.
Yeah.
a
for sure.
frivolous expense to make sure that it will
Rent it.
last for 100 more
Yeah.
years or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I love
I
the
mean, I
trellis.
feel, I personally, and I'd love to hear the board, I wish next time, in hindsight being 2020, please put the contingency planning away from the maintenance center and towards the beach so that our budget looks good. But that's effectively, that's
But we
effectively
had-
where we are,
But he
right?
did it, he absolutely did it the right way, because have found yucky stuff back there
There could
before.
have been oil tanks. We
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
know.
which we have found back there
Yeah.
before. So he
Yeah.
absolutely, we did the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
a little bit of me was just saying, hindsight is 2020.
Sure.
No
so-
clue. but-
I feel comfortable. I certainly feel comfortable with the interest rates, knowing that we have a little extra. So I'm
yeah,
good with
that was
this.
key here.
We did have to go through the motions of asking you these questions and understanding where we are. I also really like the fact that I think the Shape's brother,
Shape guess.
Shape, yes, I know, I had to ask.
Yeah.
Cameron
Shape
how to
Guess,
pronounce it. The Shape's brothers, I think they did a great job on the
Mhm.
the greenhouse. I keep hearing compliment
do.
after compliment. I take all the credit for it, and but they did a good job. So it's interesting that the site improvements are the only one that's off. Like the other 4 or 5 are right there. I feel comfortable. I even feel comfortable with doing the augmented areas as well, because I do think we're gonna have to put this money into that's the taxpayer wanted into the beach. So I feel good.
Fine
but-
with it.
You go around,
Yeah. How do you feel, Meg?
I feel good.
go,
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Gary?
I feel good. I mean, the one reason we're really having this discussion really is, I think, to go back to what Jackie said, is the numbers are large.
Yeah.
It's $100,000. We're not having a
Different.
discussion.
Yep.
It's just both of them were so far off the opposite ways for
Yeah.
various reasons. And that's what makes you a little less uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you have this and it's supposed to be for this, I used the wrong word clearly with slush fund, but it's Fund 68. It's all one big fund.
But it's to me, I'm looking at this as in, when we plan meetings, I plan for the airfare, I plan for the hotel, I plan for the meals, I plan for the conference cost, and the conference cost is usually fixed. Sometimes the hotels are more expensive, sometimes the airfare is more expensive, and it sounds like we just got into one of those areas where this was a little bit more expensive, this was a little bit, but
Okay.
I agree with you, we have to do the
Left at Jackie.
trellis. Jackie?
I'm not gonna lie, that's a lot of money. I just, in the back of my head, the math I'm doing in the back of my head is that 1.6 is not gonna be 1.6. It's gonna be something much higher. Because everything has been trending higher. It's not that like I have a future ball, but it's like we just said, we got lucky with the ball field.
You have to remember, the bids, when they put them in, they have to honor those price. The only thing that changes is there's change orders. Correct, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the 1.6 you're talking about is referring to the
Keep talking about
stairs.
the stairs.
Oh, the
Yeah.
stairs, yeah.
And so
I mean,
just to speak to that point, you
Yeah.
know, next year we'll be going through the design process where we'll get into the nitty gritty, and that budget number could and will get refined based on where the scope gets more refined. So to that point, it could go up, it could go down based on where the engineer actually gets their hands, and we get engineers' estimates versus comparable projects and initial estimates from
and the
engineers.
design, but whatever the
Yeah.
board decides that design ends up being, but we still have
1.4.
1.4 million.
That's my question for you. I
After
think
that.
Jackie makes a point, like we are, we're 25 to 30, 20 to
Right.
25% over in the past two. If we are 20 to 25% over in the stairs and it goes from 1.6 to 2, how comfortable do you feel? It could also go from 1.6 to 1.4.
It could.
Right? But how comfortable
100%.
do you feel at that sort of, if it goes to 2 million for the stairs?
I'm still comfortable. I mean, that's a 10 to 20% there. That's about 20%. So
Percent.
yeah, I mean, I think we'll still have residual fund balance within Fund 68 to be able to absorb it. If we don't, for whatever reason, you know, the Fund 69, that's just part of our funding strategy, is to be able to you know, make up for that shortfall out of Fund 69.
I don't.
Even if
recall-
it
yeah.
trails 25% higher, we're still
We'll have
talking.
plenty.
There,
Yeah.
we still have 1,479,000, so it's about 40,000-50,000, right? So we're still,
Correct.
we still have funds
I'll-
left.
And I'll put this out there for, I recall when we were doing the bonds, and you guys,
Yeah, you're right.
I
400.
remember, Lisa, you pushed us to go quick during, I mean, we went really quick with the bonds because the market was kind of where it
Right.
was. We were originally thinking, I can't go back to the notes, but you guys probably can. I thought we were thinking like 13 to 14 off of these
Correct.
bonds. We ended up getting 15, and then the interest rate environment improved. I don't recall ever thinking we'd get 1.4
No.
million in interest. So it's like,
Yeah, this is a,
I mean, but I remember you
Happy.
two pushed us, and we were actually really nervous about going so quickly to the bond market. And we, you know, again, I
and
guess
it worked out.
I would call it luck, but I actually think it's probably skill on your part. But I remember that woman was sitting here, or that,
Yeah.
yeah, this woman sitting here from the bond. I should go.
Mhm.
So look, 1.4 million in interest when we thought we were gonna get a couple $100,000. It's a big thing, big impact too.
So some things go
Yeah.
higher because of economy, so we benefit from the interest. So you kind of have to look at it that way.
And also, if we do this, and we don't do the trellis, I think there's gonna be some blowback too.
Oh, yeah,
A lot of
And
blowback.
especially if we have money left over.
Yeah.
and we- it
Right.
doesn't-
exactly.
So it's, we catch my two. How you seeing it, Jackie?
That's true.
Come over to the dark side?
Now, again, yeah, so,
If we
No,
need
no,
me
no,
to
that's
touch point,
true.
we'll touch
Okay.
point.
What is, what's on your mind?
A lot of money.
money. I mean, it's for, this is probably your first really big vote, right?
Look, when I do the math a different way, we're really at 15 million. It's the 1.4 million of interest income that's allowing us to have a cushion.
Absolutely.
And so,
And the fact that we got 15
If we,
versus.
maybe if we
versus
didn't have
13.
that cushion, we wouldn't be talking like this, but
Right,
we
but
did, so
that's-
that was,
so we got a cushion, and I just want to be mindful of, because there's a lot of variables we don't control. The ones we do control is, yes, we're going to spend the money on the trellis. I'm not saying no to it. I just wish there were other things we could sharpen, because we know that that's a lot of money, and we don't know what'll happen when bids come in for stairs and retaining wall.
you know, Jackie, I
Is
guess,
the
I
juice
guess,
worth a squeeze? That's gonna
That's-
be the question here. Or we can go back and we can, we actually, I'll just put this out there. We also will vote on this and.
Yeah,
it'll be a
no,
majority vote, But,
yeah.
that's where I think the only real juice worth
Only juice-
squeezing is the trellis. Everything else is
the-
gonna be.
the
onesie
trellis
twosie.
and the finishes inside the bathhouse. You could just do a very plain Jane bathhouse and just have
Which I don't think the
cinder
residents are gonna
block.
want.
Well, they're not gonna want it. I'm telling you, especially if they're leaving money on the table. So yes, we sharpen our pencils. Yeah, we can take things
Those are
out.
two
We've
areas.
done that before, but
Right.
I
right.
don't think the residents would be happy with that decision.
I'll bless it.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
You-
don't
you
feel
can-
pressured if.
We can have a 4-1 vote. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yes.
Okay.
if you're,
And then
we're
yes,
not voting
fine.
today, by the way, we're
Okay.
voting 2 weeks from now, and we'll take it, we won't put it on the consent agenda item, we'll put it as a, action item, because amount, but you don't have to if you don't.
Maybe during the next 2 weeks, if you want to sit with the
Yeah.
team and
I'm
chat with
just-
them and.
I'm about we
But
do that? Let's do that. That'll make me feel better.
Okay.
Listen, this is why we bring things to committee first.
Yep.
The goal with committee is to have these discussions. I think of it, I'm not a lawyer. I think both of you are lawyers. I'm not a lawyer, but I think of committees as like the deposition where everything comes out. You have these lovely discussions, and then you hope for like a quick trial. So like this is where the stuff's supposed to come out. We're supposed to have these conversations out there.
Yep.
As your lawyer, I would have.
Yes.
All right.
Well, one question, sorry.
No.
Between now and then, so we're not going to vote tonight?
But it's a committee meeting, so we can't do an
Oh,
action
duh.
vote,
No,
but
we
I
cannot.
get a consensus to
Right.
move it forward. So I need a consensus to move it to a vote on, which we really want to do if
Yeah,
we
we
want to
should do
start
that.
on
Yes.
Labor Day.
Yeah.
So,
But
either way, we
I
we
agree
should
to
vote
that.
in
Let's move it
June.
to
maybe
the
between
agenda.
now and then, could we see, I'm really sorry if we've seen this, but I don't think we have, like the like big category line items, just to their point
Like
of
the
sharpening the
subcategories?
pencil, just understanding, like, we're spending.
Yeah, the way the bid document was broken out, the playground, there's some line items, but it's really lump sum for those three major areas.
Okay.
So it would be, if we were interested, I would have to go back and have the engineers estimate.
It would
what
just be
portion
like
is
it is
that?
here.
Yeah.
It's like interior.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
this is
Meg,
the
you can, if you
bucket.
want to
Okay.
see the bid documents, he
Oh, yeah.
has those. You
That's,
can see
those will be part of the board packet. I can send them earlier if you want.
Yeah.
That's fine.
To be clear, I'm
But
not.
that's
It might
listed
help.
out here.
It might help. And yeah, and to be clear, the hesitation has less to do with like what you, the work, don't get me wrong, I get. And I also, I really just, for my own benefit, just let me go through the numbers.
For sure.
Go for it.
Thank
You
you.
should.
I would not,
Like this
I would be where
Okay.
you are. If that first green number was 0, we would be in a very different.
Very
spot.
different
So
spot.
take your
Yes.
time.
Thank you.
Yep. It's really hard when you do a budget on, when we do it so far, before the engineers really get in it. We have to give a budget for budgetary reasons, right? And that's what it is a budget. So I know people get stuck on that number. They see it, and, oh my God, that has to be it. We always say, that's a budget. Until we get in with the engineers to see what we're talking about, we really don't know. So that's what happened with this. We gave a number, then the engineers really further down the line got into seeing what the trellis was. Had they been, had they been doing that work a lot earlier, which there's pros and cons to that, believe me. And if we didn't have all the change in the economy that we've had since the Iran war, really, to be honest with you, maybe we weren't, those are all variables that we don't know about and you can't do it. So that's what it is. It's a budget and it's going to ebb and flow. And sometimes we get lucky, maintenance, sometimes we don't.
No,
So,
I get it.
And we're also seeing the same thing in other projects in
Oh,
the, in the
absolutely.
village. for-
Absolutely.
For the same reasons.
Yep.
But
We are.
I can tell you, we
Actually,
benefited.
6 months ago was the opposite, helps the maintenance. Now we're seeing in our field too. They're like, I'm like, oh, we're going out to bid. I'm really ready because we all know what's going to happen and people have been seeing those higher.
Yeah.
fees.
So it sounds like we've asked you a lot of questions and we appreciate your answers and
Thank
your
you.
honest and open feedback. It sounds like
Let me find.
Commissioner Commissioner Guzman will spend some time with you
Yep.
over the next few
Okay.
days.
Mhm.
But
Just
we
give us
do
a call and
agree
tell
to
us when
bring
you
this
can
to
meet.
a vote in 2
Okay.
weeks.
Yep.
If anything happens in between, then we can always
Well, we're
sit
gonna-
down and come back. So
We should put it on the June agenda
Put it-
if you
yeah.
want to
We
keep
can-
it,
yeah,
keep with
June
the,
agenda.
Put it on the June agenda for
yeah.
sure.
keep with the
Perfect.
timeline for Labor Day.
thank you, Director Cools.
Cool.
Guys.
Thank
you.
you.
Let's do a discussion on the change order for the West Park fence property line. This is back to you, Director Cruz.
Well, if you guys recall, I brought this up at the last meeting about adding a fence after talking to the school district, working together between the two organizations, putting up a fence along Dundee Road. So this is the change order for that discussion that we had a while ago that the board was in favor
Yeah.
of. But
And this
turn
is-
over to Kyle.
Yep. So, thank you, President Covey. So yeah, as Lisa mentioned, this was discussed at an earlier board meeting. So we did receive pricing from the contractor on the West Park project. That pricing came in the amount of $37,389. We did get a second proposal from another fencing contractor that actually has been a low bid on many of our fence projects. They came in $281 higher. So right in line, because the contractor is currently mobilized, we would recommend accepting the proposal from the contractor on site. And just for everyone's reminder, the footprint of the fence is essentially replacing the existing school fence, which is marked in red on the aerial shot, and then installing a new fence, which is marked in yellow on the aerial shot, effectively from the neighbor's property line on the west end to where the current fence ends for the school on the east end. It's a 6-foot privacy fence, very similar, actually identical to what we have out here at Takeif, installed on the berm. That'll provide some kind of privacy and
I have a quick question.
Yep.
Is
Much more
this
important
price
than
the
everything
price
else.
that we will split with the school, or is this what we're gonna spend?
we're going to split this 50/50 with
Okay.
the school.
Okay.
Yep. So it's the total cost is the 38,000 split 50/50.
Between two.
Yeah.
And the district was good with it, like they're,
They approached us with
Yeah,
it. and
they
yeah.
want us.
Yeah, and they're very appreciative. Taking care of the
My,
partnership.
Lisa and I have talked about this one, so I'm not gonna bring that up. My only one question is, do you think there is any community feedback that we need? I know I have used that ballpark before, and there have been plenty of us that have kind of left the ballpark by going up on Dundee, probably not the safest thing. There's a walkway.
So there's a little walkway.
There is a, by, left of home plate.
We're gonna leave an offset opening in the gate so people can still pass through.
Okay,
It won't be a physical sidewalk. It'll be just an opening so people.
good. Okay.
And, to answer your question, when we were talking to the neighbors who are most impacted about parking, which are right there too.
They're-
we mentioned the fence and they go, oh, that's great. So there was no issue.
Yeah, I was thinking about the neighbors on like Lick or anyone else that send their kids across to go use it, but really there's no crosswalk there.
No.
So it is not,
it's not
I was gonna
designed.
say, I know a couple families who live on Julia or Lake.
Yeah.
And when their kids, some of them are at West or have been at West, and they always walked to the
Yeah, they should.
crosswalk.
as they
Yeah.
should, right? There's a crosswalk at the forest preserve, at the
Yeah,
Botanic Garden. There's a crosswalk on the thing with a crossing guard. So I actually think this is safer. So
I agree.
I have no issue with it.
Fine.
So we can move that one to consent.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you are you're almost 3 for 3, Director Coos. Can you please provide an overview on the bids received for the lighting of the Takeif Center?
I wish I had more of a update to give. We did not receive any bids for this particular project.
Okay.
So we're gonna regroup and plan to rebid this project certainly. It is a smaller scope project. We suspect that potentially for a project like this, timing wise, people weren't hungry for the work. It's a very specific electrical replacement. We did reach out to some bid holders who, two of them, in fact, they were hung up in their spam filters. They are interested, so we are confident that when we rebid, we will have 2 bids at minimum, but we'll also cast a wider net this time. So unfortunately, not much of an update to give. Timing wise, this project could be done while we're open. We don't have to squeeze it into our shutdown period. So we'll likely put it back on the street here in the next month and a half when we get deeper into summer and hopefully come back to the board with bid results at a later date.
Yeah, the shutdown period is they take it for a week to
Yeah.
do everything that they can't do, everything they can't
impact.
do during the year. So, do you have an estimate of what is our budget for this?
It was 150,000 for this one, yeah.
50,000.
And it's basically controls for the common area lights and parking lot lights, so.
Well, back to the drawing board.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for that discussion. Let's move on to our next item, which is a discussion on sponsorship and donations. Executive Director Shepherd will lead this on the district's philosophy and policy on sponsorship and donations.
Great. At a prior committee meeting, commissioners asked the staff to look into, or actually maybe inform and look into sponsorships and donations. And so I want to bring back what we have done in the past and try to educate and then decide, ask some questions, what we would like to do in the future if there is any change. So in the past, our approach has mostly been donations from individuals or corporations offering naming rights or signage recognition in exchange for financial contributions. In the packet, the donation policy is attached for your reference. Most of the donations are gone for the length of the asset, with the exception of Takeif, that was before me, and that is in perpetuity. But since then, all of them are the length of the asset. So if the asset lasts 40 years, that's the naming rights for 40 years, and then the family has first right to re-up that naming right, or we could move on if we get another donor for that. So we've been very successful with those. They do take a considerable amount of time to, I gotta say, cultivate donors. To one being Weinberg, what took the whole 14 years to cultivate that one. So they're not something that sometimes moves fast for large donations, and then some of our smaller ones, they do. So I put the list of donations we've had for the last 11 years. And then we're potential donations coming up will be the beach trellises and sun shelters down at the beach. That's something that we would look for donation and naming rights for those too. When we're ready to present that, we'll come back to the board, and the board will have input on the set price for those donations.
I have a question for those. Let's say there are donors interested in, naming rights, right, for one of the trellises. Does that change our budget for Fund 68, or what would be the change?
Like, where does the
No,
money
the
go when you
donation
do it?
money
Yeah.
then could go wherever you say it goes. So it could go, what we usually do is we take that donation money and put it back into Fund 69, or 69.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
well,
And if we have enhancements we want to do at the beach,
Yeah.
we could add it to that budget
Okay.
as the board dictates, or put it into the
Yeah.
future
So
capital
it's not
project.
going to like the trellis. It's
Nope,
just.
nope,
see.
nope, nope,
Yeah,
nope.
yeah.
Doesn't have to go
Okay.
into the trellis. So like Weinberg, we actually used a lot of that money to
Right.
enhance things. So the fireplace area, we wouldn't have done it without that donation for the fireplace area. So though some things we do take, we're not going to do this asset unless it is donated. Another
Park is a great
example is Duke Park,
Yeah.
the spray ground.
so, yeah.
We wouldn't have done
I see.
the trains or the spray ground without that donation. Would just been a regular
Yeah.
park, the money we got that added to assets. So sometimes
I see.
it's dictated, we're not doing this if we
Yeah.
don't get this. So it's been both ways. Sometimes we're already doing it, and sometimes we add things to
Okay.
it based on donations. Historically, based on, for sponsorship, we have done sponsorship signage at the event only. So we went to secure them for, so example, July 3rd event, Independence Day events, special events, more like that, where they're one day, they put the sign up at
Yeah.
the event or in our social media, and flyers and things like that is what we've mostly done for sponsorship. Example of some of the sponsorships down there that we have had in the past, a lot of alcohol events we're able to get a lot of donations for, wine, beer events. Waste Not does recycle bins and things like that. We've had State Farm agent to Take F Express in 2023. So we've had, those have been the extent of our sponsorship for more for special events than necessarily putting sponsorship on our sport fields or ice rink and things like that. So that has been a direction. The last time this was brought up for discussion is when we did the Berlin baseball field. We actually didn't even suggest it, but the community was really afraid we were going to do it on the outfield fence, put signage all over for sponsors. I think maybe the baseball said it at one point, oh, can we put signage up to go to youth baseball? And the community was very adamant not to do that for that particular asset. So the board at that point decided that they did not want to do any sponsorship, things like that. They've also had no desire to put ads in our brochure. And I have examples of, some other park districts that have. So, back of the brochure, things like that people have done. I'll pass it around if anyone wants to see that. They've also had inside the brochure, taking a space. Remember, each page costs money, so you have to make sure the sponsorship is high enough. So there's some examples of that. There's also examples. This is, I believe, Libertyville they decided to put banners on their aquatic walls for $500 each, and that's kind of example of what that looks like.
Where is that?
Libertyville. It's a small pool they have. So they put up banners on that, and they've chosen to go that direction. Our board has not in the past wanted that look for that. So am I missing anything, Bobby?
No, Highland Park, I go to the rec center there and the pool there they have a lot of that style of sponsorship. They actually have a sponsorship coordinator and they pay for a lot of their community events through banks and local businesses paying for that. But they also do have an additional commercial base that, will be larger than Glencoe's, but they have a full-time position dedicated to that.
Mm.
I will say, when you go to the rec center there, and you go to the pool and there's a lot of banners, you do notice it, and it's a lot of realtors, it's a lot of in-town banks. I'm not sure how that would be felt if, at the rec center here, or the fitness center, or the gym, if we had a lot of those. So I think, just think about where we would put those if we were to do those. I'm not sure
Maybe
that,
go look at those, that asset, or
Yeah.
Glenview, I believe, does it also.
yeah.
So we have a couple questions asked. So does the board want us to explore sponsorship opportunities? And then if they do, then we have to drill down even further to see exactly what the board wants us to pursue, so we have the right
We can
direction.
Step back. The genesis of this discussion started from a prior meeting where we discussed sponsorship for baseball.
No. hockey.
No,
The rink,
sure,
the rink.
I think the Zamboni.
Right.
sure. He's
Zamboni.
brought up about,
Yeah.
could we do sponsorship at the rink? Putting
Because
banners
the
at the rink.
funding, okay.
But finish that sentence because of the economics at Weinberg, or like, how did we
No,
get
the-
to
Starting
that?
from that, it's-
Weinberg
Started
actually
from that.
breaks even once you figure
Yeah,
in
yeah,
kids
I
club.
know, I
Yeah.
know.
But the,
I think the Zamboni, there were some things that might need repairing in the future.
Yeah, and there
right?
was-
I
there
think
was
that
someone
the
that-
beginning.
so there are areas where we do not, like the camps tend to be surplus.
Right.
The beach and Weinberg tend to be break even or
Mhm.
investment.
Exactly.
And I think the discussion was, well, do they have to be?
Mhm.
And that's where you were talking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I think, I'll give you, I think, Lisa, you talked about from the board's perspective, like, to some extent, I'm probably a little bit risk averse here, and like, if it's not broken, it doesn't need to be fixed. I really like the fact that we bring in money, with naming rights, and we kind of keep this community in a world of like that cozy, beautiful, not plastered with ads environment. And I know there were discussions, a lot of discussions with the Frank Lloyd Wright House when we moved it, about what that would look like when we moved it. And we were really, really nervous. We didn't want to put a bunch of signage there and a bunch of history there and this, and we ended up putting, I think, a QR code and a little small thing. But I think, I definitely want us, as I see this, and I'm actually, my brain was kind of tinkering with, ooh, we need $300,000 for a trellis. Like, could we call it the Hazen trellis? I don't mind that, right?
For 50.
We call it the Saffron Boathouse, but, right. But we call it the Saffron Boathouse. We call it
Right.
the Weinberg
Yeah.
Center, Take Center. Those things, I think, kind of have worked with this community more than, ads. And I know we talked about it, you talked about Berlin, I wasn't around. We certainly talked about it with the Zamboni and that sort of feel. I'm not sure, again, maybe I'll use that expression twice. I'm not sure the juice is worth the squeeze for changing things up right now.
I don't think, this is a hunch, my guess is that the community will not want the banner type things. A lot of people, when they talk about why they chose Glencoe, they talk about the look.
Right, it's quaint.
It's, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's,
Normal walk.
exactly, yeah. And I am risk averse to start flashing signage. That's like permanent, that's there.
Naming
On
rights,
something like a Zamboni, I don't, that's very super specific, but I'm just saying, on something like a Zamboni that's like moving around and then it's getting parked, I don't have strong feelings either way. I go with, I don't think that would cause an uproar, but on anything physical that's going to be, I feel like then we're changing a little bit the look of the community, and then I'd want more community input. I'd be very nervous to do that.
I'm in the same boat to some degree. Obviously, I'm the one that kind of pushed this topic. And I believe that sponsorship should be looked into. And whether you call it sponsorship or naming rights, to me, it's one and the same thing. I mean, it's really a sponsorship. You know.
Look at it, yeah. So just to know, we look at different donation, like family.
I think it's different. I mean,
It's different, but I mean, it's the same as by mine. If you, yes, okay, it's different,
lot.
but.
I
it's
don't
still-
think you have like the graphics and the color, that
No,
kind
no,
of
no.
thing.
Yes, of course. I
Mhm.
agree with that. I agree with that. That's true. But something like to say that we don't want to have, like, we brought the Zamboni to not be Like, I think that's short-sighted. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get like $300 for it, of course not, but if we're gonna get some real money and someone wants to donate real money for it, we'd be crazy to not look into and not to want that. I personally believe the hockey rink is natural. If you had one main sponsor for the boards, do I want this, multiple banners? Look, no, I think that's wrong. The goal is to get a few big splashes and, we don't have a full-time person on staff. So it has to be someone or something that can be done by reaching out to just a handful of key, people in the community or business in the community. I know it's easier said than done. My business was driven a lot by sponsorships, so I'm well aware of what it takes. But I bet there's some dollars out there for certain things that we're not tapping. And once again, there's a very subtle, professional way of doing it, and there's not. And this is not the one we're looking for. So that's what I'm looking for. That's what I was thinking.
Megan Tacky?
I don't think I have anything different to say. I agree with what you said, Michael, just in terms of especially corporate sponsorships just feeling a little weird. But maybe it's more of the aesthetic issue for me and like the look and feel than not the concept. But I don't know how you.
No, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know how you separate those two. I'd be more interested to learn how we do approach things like if we wanted to offer naming rights for the trellis, like
Right.
how would we go about that?
We,
Is that,
we,
you know-
what we have done, and we have a very successful free donation program and
Yeah.
donation program. Every time there's, and Big Park was our last one, that, our Weinberg was it. When we have a new amenity coming online, that we develop a brochure and we say, these are naming rights available. We put the picture of the asset and then how much we would offer it. And then we just put it out to the community. And that's when they come through the wood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
At that point, they're
And
like.
then we vote
and
on
then-
it, like it's not
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah,
the
you have to
highest bidder
vote on
automatically gets
We
it.
look
Mhm.
into, if there's a, so for example, the Weinberg family before name rights, we look into, is there any skeletons that we could find in this closet before we do any of those, it's the same with Duke Park and things like that. We really look at to make sure it's not inexpensive, and I think maybe that Zamboni, at the time, we were offered a very good donation as a donation in memory of someone with Zamboni, and I think the name was
Yep.
what was offensive, not that it was on the
Yeah.
Zamboni, it was the name,
Yep.
that it was a nickname.
It was.
It was,
To the board.
yes, and like,
Yeah.
I can explain that one.
Yeah.
We will be, we'll be.
Deuce did not seem like it was in line with our
So we
quaint,
get that. I mean,
quaint
we had a
community.
Great discussion about Duke Park too, because it was named after a dog, and is that appropriate? Everybody didn't find that offensive. So it's kind of, we bring those back. We look at what we think each item's value, we bring it back to the board had a discussion, yes, we agree, and then we brochure and put it out to the community. Haven't had any businesses actually take us up on that. So if there was a business that came on it, like State Farm, to donate to the shelter,
We would
And
talk
we'd
about,
figure
it,
it
right?
out.
Do you want to call it the State Farm Trellis?
say no to Goose Island Brewery or one.
Yes, it's.
But, maybe we would not. So, that's very common for things to donate, but, in this community, which is, I think, very unique to other communities that I worked at and others have worked at, is that we have a much smaller business community, but we also have a lot more other organizations that are buying that money that don't get taxpayer dollars. So you have Writers Theater that that goes after donations and
Yeah.
sponsorship. You have,
Glencoe Youth Services, Glencoe Junior High Project,
So Glencoe.
Historical Society. Yeah.
So it always felt a little bit like, I think, and to people too, we're getting tax dollars, and now you're asking, we're giving you tax dollars, now you're asking for more donation, for sponsorship, but when they see a donor, they can have their name on there for 40 years,
Yeah.
they just feel more warm and fuzzy, I guess.
Yeah,
you know.
no, I see that.
The swim benches, things like that, we've been very successful in that, so.
I mean,
more than so,
yeah.
and I'm not saying we should keep
The
that
Wrigley
going
Field.
for a one day event sponsors.
Yeah.
None of us have any problem with that, putting,
Yeah.
a sign up and flyer and social
Yeah.
media. Goose Island sponsored this for video brewing.
Right.
I think it's maybe doing like
They're partnering with us. Yeah. Yeah.
And things like the Mud Run, like
Like the mud run.
the Mud Run.
One day events, really, if we don't get any blowback from the community, they like that. And those seem to be more palatable for businesses those are much ask, right? And
Yeah.
something like that, we would ask probably a lot.
Yeah.
of money.
I think what I'm hearing, or like me say kind of how I'm thinking about it, there's really two buckets. One of them is we're going to offer and partner with someone, and I think of it more partnership, to give them the opportunity to honor someone, something, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah, I would say
that's-
that's a donation.
Right. And that process, what you described, seems to be fairly low touch.
Yes, it is very low touch. Yeah. It
But-
takes a while to cultivate good ones, though.
No. I get like cultivating relationships. That in any fundraising environment, that takes time.
Yeah.
But the actual doing of the work is, we don't have a fundraiser. We don't have a fundraising. We're not in the fundraising business.
Exactly.
I do not recommend we get into the fundraising
No, I
business. We take tax dollars but what I heard you say is we are in the business of, we are a small community, and if an opportunity presents itself, we're going to partner with people to honor
Yes.
someone, something, fill in the blank. Bucket two are same day events where it's one-off scenarios, and it also is a low touch process.
Yes, very, mail letter out, but, you know.
So
Yeah.
the third bucket, which I don't support, is starting to get into the business of fundraising.
It is, it's definitely more. we don't have
Right.
staff to do that.
I would have a difficult time justifying tax dollars going to fundraising for what potentially could be a lower ROI. So then the real question to me is, if we're in the business of, partnerships and one-day events, what gets categorized into those two buckets?
I think what I'm not gonna answer your question directly.
No, that's fine.
I'm gonna probably take a little bit of a side curve. I think the question that we have to answer is, do we see any reason to shift the current direction on what we've been doing with the sponsorship, donation, whatever you want to call it, from here? And to me, sounds like a few of us say, no, I think Gary, you would probably push to think about more sponsorships. I'm not convinced that the three others are there yet, but I think that's what the discussion is here. Do you want to stay the course or do you want to change?
But I think we're doing that. In other words, even with what Gary's saying, that falls at bucket two.
I think what the difference is putting banners up at
Yeah,
like the
I think-
ice rink and where
Like
we're.
permanent names, not
Yeah,
like
like-
same
like,
day.
is it-
Permanent business.
Yes.
Soliciting corporate donations for a Zamboni,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
I mean, well, we do
Although we
a
do
corporate
do that,
donation
we
for,
do say-
for day events, we do corporate donations.
Right.
So we do. So I think this outlines sort of what we do in terms of what you call sponsorships and what you call donations. And I think, honestly, what I think Gary's world is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is more like ad sales.
Correct.
I don't think
Yeah.
I want to shift into the world of ad sales. I don't think the community wants us to shift into ad sales. Totally agree with Nicole that, like, if this is a 2-3 vote, then we may want to see what the community thinks about it. I think there's a pretty good pulse on the community already, but I don't think we want to go into ad sales. The donations, yeah, I'm okay with that. Someone wants to buy a trellis, bring it to us. The sponsorships, you do not have to bring that to me for the most part. I think we have good rules on that. But for ad sales, I just don't see I don't see the juice is worth the squeeze on that one. I don't see it. I don't think it's a good risk.
I wouldn't say it, unless we're talking about the same thing. Ad sales. I mean, that's not my world at all. I want to talk
Like
about.
advertising
that's why-
advertising
right.
on the board of, I consider it to
Okay,
be advertising
naming rights
on
and
the,
stuff, not naming rights.
advertising on the boards
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the hockey rink.
Yeah.
That to me is ad sales. That, if you want to put a goalie, what's the guy's name? Who does the goalie stuff that's everywhere?
Oh, good as gold, good as gold. yeah,
Good as gold.
yeah.
Like, I do not want to see a good as goal. I do not want to see a Tasca Chevrolet.
No, if
you
you
know.
recall the last conversation we had about this, we touched upon it. My vision was more of like, we'd have one, like say Chase Bank, local.
Yeah.
Be a couple of those things around the boards. So one, it's a local bank,
Yeah.
local business, number one. Number two, it's professional, it looks good. It's one, it's not like 10 boards, 10 different things, like when you go to Winnetka. and so that was more my vision, is a very simple one. You get one sponsor, gets this space.
Yeah.
And
And
it-
then you get 3 or 4 of those things, and over a giant hockey rink, you'll barely even be, you won't even notice about the second time you're there. It's most parks and everything else, I would not think that's appropriate for our community. But I feel for the hockey rink, it has some legs. But,
But I think, and this is why I was going with the question of categorization, because I actually think what he's describing, it falls in either one or two of the buckets I laid out. What we're really talking about is what's the mechanism to do something like this? Do you do it in terms of a partnership where they're a longer term partner, whether it's a name of a person or not, but it's in honor of something? Like we honor the fact that, I'm making it up, Chase Bank has been here for over 100 years. Kind of cool. You've seen Glencoe grow up. There's a story there. That's different than what you're describing, which is throw up a name and pay for it, and we're going to splash and commercialize all of our free space. I don't think anybody is suggesting that. I could be wrong, but I think what you're saying is, how do we create those partnerships where they are either in that more true partnership
yeah, sure.
bucket, or it's the one-off events?
Yeah, we couldn't, for example, if you wanted to say, okay, we're going to honor Chase Bank, I'm just picking Chase
Right,
Bank,
make it.
on
yeah.
there, we really couldn't do that because we already have agreement with Weinberg for the naming rights of the whole building.
But
Right.
we
In
don't
our-
have we don't have a hockey, what I think you're saying is, could you call it the Chase Hockey Rink?
Correct.
No,
That's
because we've got
exactly
Weinberg.
We
correct.
have to
We
go
have one.
back and get
That's-
permission
that's-
from
I
Weinberg.
wouldn't expect
Yes.
it to be.
Could you
I
call
think
it- could you
there's a
call it the
visual
Chase Bank?
difference, though.
Could you call it the
Yeah.
Chase Bank Beach?
Yeah.
Do you,
Like-
let me ask you that. Would you want to call this?
No.
No.
The Chase
No,
Bank?
no, no,
So,
no.
so
But-
my push to you all is, I think this is such a fine line out there that I like the idea of telling staff, in general, we're okay with. When it comes to these sponsorships, bring them to us. I do not want to invest a dime
Yeah, I don't know.
in human capital to go out there and do ad sales or to go sell to Chase. I don't feel comfortable. Everyone gets their vote, so we can all vote. But the process has so far been that when we think of things out there that can go, like this new trellis, like a new park, like this, like that, the staff goes and they bring it back to us. And I think that works, because I just don't feel comfortable, Gary, with investing in human capital to go out there and start to do this. That's just not where I want to invest our funds.
But for
Well,
example-
no, so
And I don't
for
think we're
me,
gonna
there's a
return.
visual difference there. So like, let's say, as opposed to, let's just say we were okay and we wanted to spend some human capital to get Chase Bank to sponsor it, to be the name instead of Weinberg.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about their branding. Like, they will have their font that they will want to
Right.
use. I mean, I'm
Oh,
a
yeah,
trademark attorney.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
They will
Yeah.
want to use their font,
Yep.
their color, their
Attached to our
logo.
brand.
And that is changing a look.
Yep.
And I understand
Yep.
that, and I think that we will find in the community, there will be people who will not be happy with the color, the font, the logo on a whatever, whether it's on a field or whether it's potentially, on any structure where it's there for more than a day or a solo project. I think that it will change the look.
Yeah, and
as
we're not
opposed
gonna,
to,
and
like,
we're
the
not gonna get a
saffron name.
material impact
Yeah.
we're not gonna get a material impact, I think, from that to be financially worth it for the community. Like Weinberg, that was a big one. That was $500,600,000 for Weinberg, over 40 years. So like, if you can find, 600,000 over 40 years is 15,000 a year. Like, I don't want to ask Bobby to go out there and spend a third of his time or a fourth of his time to get 15 grand a year or even 40 grand a year. Like, it's just not, I
But
don't
if-
see a return.
But if someone came up to us, for example, and said, oh, I really want to put so-and-so's name on the Zamboni. Well,
Bring it to 'em.
because you said it goes in and out, and
Mhm.
as long as it's a name that we could all live with, like what last time the board was.
If it was
entertain-
Johnny
entertained
Zamboni,
it,
that would
It
have
was
been
fine,
fine.
but when the name was that, it wasn't. So it's that kind of thing where you're right. The Zamboni would be exception. I would be like, oh, okay, that's.
That's what I'm
great.
looking for, the exceptions. I'm
Yeah.
not looking
Yeah.
for,
So,
the
and
limits
that's,
to be just,
Yeah.
That's good.
blessed. It's like, I think it's pretty clear what I'm talking about. There's a few
so that's a
assets
good
that are,
direction. Yeah.
that are, I think are very feasible and it's very okay to do it. I think.
And
it's
Lisa
very
brings those to
hard.
us.
I do,
right?
yeah.
That's
think
the
there's some-
beauty, is that those come right to us. So I think,
On the dashboards, I would have a problem with just the same reason Nicole indicated, but tasteful signage
When,
on things.
when we did connect Glencoe, the photos sold itself.
Oh, it did?
So it kind of goes back to high quality. People, they told us over and over and over again, high quality is really important. So if we do the trellis and the sun shelters in really high quality, tied to what their family would like to see, that makes it so much easier for us to be like, okay, we put in these absolutely stunning set of sun shelters. The people come out of the woodwork to be like, I want my family name or my foundation on that.
The ones that have been
And
around
that's a
for a
lot
while.
easier than some of the other. And that's what we've
Good
seen with
point.
Duke.
Yeah.
We've seen that with Weinberg.
A lot of family foundations.
That's what it is. They want, it's a legacy item that they want attached to high quality that they know is not going to look dated or terrible in 20 years. And we've had a lot of success with that.
'Cause our history of
Berlin
doing
was the
really good
same. Yeah.
So pretty soon, once
Yeah.
we actually approve bids and we kind of know what it is and how much it's valued at, we'll start, because we have the renderings now, we'll start working on that. We're at the same time, we want to put the greenhouse out there too, but we wanted to put them all
Yeah.
together. Because greenhouse is a great
Mhm.
opportunity for
Great
naming rights
opportunity.
also.
but I would not want to see a blue Chase banner on that beautiful greenhouse.
Wouldn't. And the nice thing is that most of our donors, we have very specific, if you look at our donation policy, very specific how big a plaque can be
Yeah.
based on how much you're giving. Very specific. If you look at Berlin, it's very classy how we did that large donation. So there's specific things. That's why there's a policy of that. So it's very clear to people. So they can't go, I want this. And we're like, nope, it's policy. And we've told people, no, we can't do it. And they walked away, and we were just to make sure we have that integrity. So,
Okay,
all right.
Right.
well, it sounds like we're staying
Hey,
the
good
course.
discussion, though,
We
good
are
discussion.
excited that
We
you
like
have
that.
opportunities at the beach. Bring them to us. And if you find opportunities with Zamboni, please bring those to us.
We will.
as Well,
We will. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I
I
agree
think
with
that is a good opportunity.
Yeah, I absolutely
Um,
do agree with Gary.
Okay, as I look at our agenda over here, we still don't have matters of the public because there's no public here. I do not see a reason to go into executive session. Lisa, is there any other business?
There is, sorry, don't
Okay.
back up yet. This
No,
might
I'm
be a
just
long
putting my
one.
power cord.
Okay, I got a couple of things going on here. West Park update. So we did get late last week an update from the village. I'm gonna throw it over to Kyle because it's the Kyle show today.
So the board recalls, we discussed the West Park parking over on Cherry Tree Lane. Just to recap kind of how we arrived here. So community input going back to 2021, there were concerns raised about parking and circulation. And so we heard that feedback, discussions with the village and public safety, who also received similar feedback and concerns. Look to put off-street parking into the park property. It was designed as angled parking approved by the board. We then had a handful of neighbors come out and voice their displeasure with the design. We met with those neighbors. Some of their additional concerns were that the angled parking would force people to still go northbound on Cherry Tree Lane and then turn around in their driveways. So we heard that feedback, and the village reached out to us last week and said that going to 90-degree or perpendicular parking and putting a drop-off lane would be acceptable to them based on their engineering expertise, as well as our project engineers. And so really, I think the question is, do we want to change the plan as presented from angled to perpendicular? And do we want to add that drop-off lane at the west end of Willow Tree Lane? So where Willow Tree meets Cherry Tree. We're at a point where the project, we really do need to make if there are any changes, they need to be made
Today,
today.
Yeah, or
because
else
we're holding up
if
progress.
you get rid of the parking and just keep it like on street. Just want you to know, we did meet with 5 of the residents with Phil, police chief, Kyle, myself. Those 5 residents, we sent, after we got the recommendation for the village, we sent an email to all of them and said, this is what we're recommending. Everybody thanked us. They're happy with this change except for one person. The one person still wants the indented parking, but they want it parallel, which we don't feel is a safe alternative. I think the board indicated that last time too. So that was the only one. Everybody else was satisfied with the
So they
There were-
prefer the perpendicular?
Yes, what the village recommended.
There was the person who wanted the lane driving through and then the other person.
They
who-
never, but we
Yeah.
reached back out to them. They were
No,
never,
never responded
they
correctly.
never responded back to the
So it's just
final
the-
change. There was someone that put a design, which I sent you, but we did send them that we're going with the,
Perpen-
direct parking, and he never responded that he didn't like it. So that's great. So this helps. What happens is then now people can just back out and they can go this way or back out and go that way. And so they won't have to go out this way and then turn around people's driveways. And
So
I think that was the
perpendicular
main
as
concern.
opposed to slanted.
Yes.
And the perpendicular is going to encourage both southbound and northbound traffic
Traffic.
as opposed to the other way.
And not pulling in people. There would be then no need for people to pull into their driveway if they're parking. Now, I can't say if people are going around and can't find parking that they won't do it, but it will substantially bring down
Yeah,
that
I
problem.
gotta tell you, I don't love,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, the village, this was the village.
the village engineer gave this plan. They have parking like this throughout the village, a few spots. Yeah, and the
Do
the
they have
recommendation.
that? Because I'm thinking
Do you know where
South
they have it?
School,
I'm not sure.
West School, South School.
There's-
is like
They said it was two
center-
spots.
I mean, the village engineers essentially said that putting perpendicular versus angled in this location is not a safety concern to them
Yeah.
because of the type of situation. It's not in a highly
Used, yeah.
used area and, fast movement of vehicles. So
That's
doing
what
this
I'm trying to think of
adjustment
what- you're right,
allows
so
people
that's
to
it.
go either way versus forcing them. to
I know,
go.
I almost rather, I'm kind of surprised I didn't say just to switch the angle. Force them,
Okay,
force them
so
to walk
they-
around and switch the.
They
switch-
didn't. So
Yeah.
this is, this is,
I'm thinking, I'm thinking.
we're
of,
not
like,
engineers,
parking-
so,
Picture Shelton Park. They have it.
yeah, Shelton
Yeah.
Park has it.
Has the
Yes.
Straight,
Yes.
straight parking.
Okay, Shelton does have that.
Yep.
So
So this was the,
Issue.
Weinberg does
I
too.
love an angled park again, just from
No,
a
no,
driver.
I would have, I would
Yeah,
have,
but
I
like
would have
if this,
preferred it angled and I would have preferred them to shift it the other way to force people to go
they would have to go all the way
again, they
around
would have
then.
to go around the other way.
all the way around, but a harder entrance makes for an easier exit. Now, you could say that somebody, there's no way they could use that driveway and get in, right? Because you can't,
No, you're right.
you.
They would,
You're right.
Well, to be clear, the village isn't dictating that we need to
Yeah.
move to perpendicular. They're saying if the board would like to, they have no qualms with that.
and
the
I
spots
personally feel,
wide? Are
yes,
we-
they're
are
going to be
we-
a little wider.
Okay, because that helps
Yeah,
with the
They're going to be a
perpendicular.
little wider because
Yeah.
we have room now with that to make them a little bit wider,
I do
right,
feel like
Kyle?
there-
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not if this is what the residents want, and then I'm fine doing perpendicular ultimately. I think that there's typically more door dings, like even so with my kids, when we
Yeah.
have the angled ones, I tell my younger children, go out the other side, like the side that's not by, I just don't want them to whap it.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll probably be more door dings, but
That's why, that's why
I literally coach them every time I'm like, go out that other side. I don't want to deal with it.
you can all make fun of the Covey mobile, but this is why we have maintained our 15-year-old minivan with sliding doors.
Oh,
That is smart, Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, look, I personally would rather see us do it that way. However, we have to take our own personal views and put them aside. If the village thinks that this is,
It's a definitely a solution and it would make the neighbors happy.
okay,
It's, solve
I-
their
I don't-
problem of
I'm
people
not gonna
going their
stop.
driveway.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna step in that way.
Change to the drop off lane or not?
So the drop-off lanes proposed at the very west end of Willow Tree. So the idea is that people can get dropped off on Willow Tree and walk
And
into the
never
park.
have
And go-
to.
And never
Never
have to
have
be,
to turn
yes.
Kyle,
And
I
that
would like to
drop-off lane would
recommend-
only be there at night after school's over. So it'd be regular parking spots during school hours. And it would turn into that drop-off lane for like 2 or 3 cars only during like the baseball time.
Got it, okay.
I would like to recommend that anytime you bring us something that requires me to visualize it, that you actually show it, because
I can pull it up if we had it ready to go. if
We
you
have
need
it
me
ready to
pull
go if you need it, but.
I would love.
I
can
would
see
love
it?
to see
I'm
it.
sorry, I'm a very
Can you
visual.
show 'em?
Oh, yeah, pull it.
Same,
Blowing past is
Same,
8:15.
I'm like.
But
You're blowing past 8:15.
I know, but it's okay. This is worth it.
We have it ready. So we were ready just in case you said that.
Yeah. I'm glad
Uh,
Jackie,
Erica might need a hand.
Jackie
along
voted
with-
for seeing it as well.
Yes,
so-
no, I'm super visual.
fine.
I was
It's good to
having
see
a
it.
difficult time right now. I am known for walking around with notebooks to draw stuff.
Yeah.
It's just.
Okay. I'll pass this out, but this is the next one, so.
I just have it blacked out.
Ahead.
Okay, well,
three other businesses. Don't jump ahead to this one though.
3 other?
Turn to the village meeting.
We seem to be in a chatty mood.
I know.
I know, Michael.
Why am I looking at a tree trunk? Lisa.
Multiple subjects.
Oh, Lisa. Okay.
Would you like to see the plan as proposed currently?
No, just with the
I do.
new spot.
And we're gonna do this with the.
Yeah.
So I don't have a drawing of what the new spots would look like, but I can walk you through it by showing. So
Pay attention to this one. I got little cats. I'm trying to herd cats right now. Shouldn't have put it out. It's my fault. It was my fault.
So the gray part to the left just becomes straight parking.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I can see it.
So currently it is angle.
It's, no, it doesn't exist right now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Or on Cherry Tree. So you're coming down Middle Tree, you turn on Cherry Tree, Angle Park in.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
The concern is that this forces people to back out and then you continue.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Right.
They can back up and go the other way.
Make it perpendicular to allow people to then reverse out and go either way, so they aren't.
Okay. All right, got it.
And my suggestion was make it the opposite, turn it 180, so it forces people to drive around the neighborhood
The problem is.
But that's the same problem.
People will not
It
drive
is.
because
around.
you're
They'll
gonna,
come in
people
here, they'll
back
go
out in a
through the,
rush.
they'll go through the driveway and park that way.
I don't,
They'll do what they do at the beach and just try to.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I do see that a lot.
I see
at
it all
the-
the time.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a stupid question here.
You're
Let's-
right. They
If we
will
do
do that.
this and it's a failure, can't you just change the lines a different
Yeah.
way next year?
Yeah.
So let's just give it what the neighbors want. and
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
what
it
they
is
do.
the
Yeah.
same depth.
Then we go, hey, this doesn't work, and then we,
Yeah.
Gary,
A little-
you're a wise man. I like it. Perpendicular it is.
Okay.
all right.
We're good.
So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna put this so it's on public record, so the neighbors know this on the consent agenda item, but we are gonna go ahead because we need to,
Make that decision.
we need to move
Yeah.
forward in construction. We don't want the construction people to pull off.
Do we lose
Call
spots?
them tomorrow and tell
Do
them,
we lose any spots by doing this?
Same.
we actually,
Same number.
we actually saved, we won't have to pave as much, so.
Oh,
But we do not want to add more spots because that was an open, a
Yeah.
whole nother can of worms, so.
Yeah.
And there'll be,
I'd rather not make them super
and you
narrow.
will have a
No, why?
lovely
We'll make them
ADA spot.
wider, yeah.
I don't want those dean.
Have a ADA spot.
I don't want
Yeah.
your.
We have, we definitely have an ADA spot. Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Good.
I didn't give myself a copy.
Kyle.
Lisa, you can have my copy because I have seen this.
Okay, so we had a neighbor, now this, I am to be honest, this is the flyer I gave you. This is not the first time this come up, probably in my 15 years, it's about the 10th time this has come up. We have a neighbor, and if you look on this little, on the sheet, that little triangle, the blue highlighted triangle, it's right across the street, so, from the drive I take it, so if you go right across the street, there's a little angled greenery that is owned by the Glencoe Park District. The history is that there used to be an underground
Staircase.
bridge that went underneath the road and came up.
That's so cool.
Can we
They
put
got
that in?
rid of it because it was, falling
It was
apart.
school.
It was too expensive to, whatever. Yeah, I would have fixed it.
Can we use some of that million?
So
for-
so this homeowner before has tried it and the board said no. Many other times, every time someone moves in, they want to buy that to extend their property. Said no last time. He has again asked to the board, we have a new board, so I had to bring this up again because now he's going with the angle that he wants to remove the buckthorn from the property because it backs up. I want to note that the homeowner that wants to buy it is 994. 1007 does not want the buckthorn removed on that
Gives them
property.
privacy.
Yeah, so so he's asking if we would sell this. That we are allowed to sell Park District property. We've only done it twice in our history. Once was when we sold
The house.
partitioned off and sold the director's house. We got out of the housing business. And the other one was when there was an alley that had no recreational value at all and no value to the Park District at all. We did sell that
And we
portion.
didn't know that we had it in our.
Yeah, we didn't even know it was ours.
know that we had it in our-
So at this point, this piece has absolutely no recreational value. I would agree with that. But it may have strategic value relating to the entrance and exit of Take Center in the future and any traffic enhancements we may want in the future. So that's why we've always held on to it because we don't know in the future, maybe, what if we need a stoplight? What if we need, I don't know, crossing,
I would like to keep it.
What's the value of this?
If we want to put a
oh,
tunnel,
I didn't even,
Right.
to be honest, I didn't even go down the road to see how much it's valued because that's a waste of my time that the board doesn't want to sell it. I've
Yeah.
gone that before. So it wouldn't be that much. And then on top of that, in order to sell something, you can sell something under 3 acres without going to referendum. Anything above 3 acres, you have to go to referendum, community site. You have to go to court and the judge has to allow it.
Okay.
Now, no judge has ever said no to enhance someone's yard. So
Yeah.
that's not, it's just the process of it. So along with the piece of property, the value, I would also say they would have to pay all the court costs,
Mhm.
our legal costs, because we have to have a lawyer go with us down there and everything like that. So before I even went down the road of how much it's
Okay.
worth or putting, I want to know if there's any appetite so I can tell them. Again, this comes up every so often. I always have to bring, if there's a new board, to find out their thoughts on it. So thoughts?
No,
No,
I'm not interested.
No.
With respect to the Buckthorn, if there's community interest in us, we could remove that ourselves if, and we
Absolutely.
could, or we could figure out for privacy screening something else,
Yes.
but like, that's not,
If both
Every-
neighbors said, oh yeah, I want that buckthorn removed, we could actually absolutely go in
Right,
there. We're
right,
trying to
right.
eradicate it through our system and eventually we'll get to that site.
Mhm.
But because the other neighbors against it and it would
Mhm.
cost a lot of money to
Yep.
screen it, it would take years to provide that screen. I don't think that's the first site we're gonna do for that, so.
Yep.
So that's a no for everybody?
Yeah, no.
Okay. The last one I want to talk about is we were all at the village board meeting when they were talking about parking. After that meeting, Bobby and I came back and we're talking about, okay, obviously there's a need for more intense discussion on this issue, right? People are still upset. We're going to gather a lot of data this summer. I still think the incremental approach is correct on this. But we really have to, and get more data this winter or this summer and then really analyze it. What we found was really successful when we had this kind of issue with the very polarizing, I guess, groups on the issue, is we formed a task force to study the issue. We did that with the dog park and it was very successful. For one reason is because we were able to have a platform of, we had 11 people, always do odd numbers, we were able to educate them, have those meetings and really talk about the issue in more detail than say a public meeting would have the ability to do. And the other is that then the two could go together and we could try to maybe have a solution that works for both. So we don't have these two groups pitted against each other. I suggested to the Phil at the village, he's like, oh my gosh, we were thinking the same thing. I don't know if he's brought it to his board yet. So this would be a joint task force made up of both. So we would have a representative from our board and staff and the village board and staff. And then we would have 11 members from throughout Glencoe. So not 11 members that live on the beach or go to the beach. It would be throughout. So what we did for the dog park task force is we had each section of Glencoe representative, and I still have to work out the details of how we'll do that. What if we get 10 people from each area, how we're going to pick them? We still have to develop the application. We're still working out those ideas, which I'll bring, but I just wanted to know if that was something that was agreeable. We would probably start the process in September with the hope it ends by when we have to advertise beach passes by February.
Yeah, February at the latest.
February, so that we would know if there's any changes to parking restrictions at all around the beach, that decision would be made so we can advertise when we're selling beach passes. Because the last thing you want to do is sell beach passes and say you can't park there to a non-resident. So does the board like that idea and should we consider to pursue it and work with the village on that?
I really like that idea. I do think it'll be more productive than what we saw at the village meeting.
Right.
I think that the residents all need to talk to each other. I think that's more productive than having 3 minutes and, and they're talking with the board rather than, I think, just talking with each other.
Ideas, yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know how you guys did it with the dog park. I don't know if there were people who were pro dog park
Yes.
and anti.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I would say here you would want to, in addition to just getting people from different parts of the
Yep.
town, from what I've seen,
Yep.
I would think you'd want to make sure you get some people from certain groups, so like a boater,
Absolutely.
and then like somebody
Yep.
who is a like, so.
Pro and con.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Some of the loudest voices in the room, for example, we invite one of the Shapex.
Mhm,
They're the
Mhm.
one leading this charge.
mhm.
We would invite someone from the boat club,
Mhm.
we would.
Only residents though. It'll only be Glencoe
Only
residents.
residents.
yeah.
Another question,
yeah.
so when
Only residents.
they have a vote.
Yep.
Is that a mandate or does it have to go to the
No,
board?
it's not binding.
It's a recommendation.
Whatever they come up with, just the same as the Lakefront Advisory Committee that we bring ideas to, and they bring back ideas and say, oh, we really like that. Kind of the same concept as the Lakefront Advisory Committee,
Yeah.
but will be more intense and it'll be short term. They will bring back suggestions, but they're non-binding. Both of the
Yeah.
boards would have to vote on that.
The only,
Right.
the only two entities that can make real decisions are either the board, which is us, or we have given Lisa up to like X dollars to make decisions out there. But no committee
Right.
at all can make
Okay.
decisions on behalf of us.
Hold on, I have lots of questions on this.
Please.
So what is what is the end deliverable?
And deliverable is to make a recommendation on the joint, it'll be it's narrow. It would only be on the parking issue around the beach, whether we should do resident, non-resident, some kind of form of that. And then I would also recommend, we've had just one family really come up lately worrying about the safety of our ramp going down. So we would talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Because
So with the recommendation that's being made, do those recommendations get implemented, and specifically who owns what part of the recommendation?
So
Yeah.
we would, whatever part, so we can't vote on the parking at all. That would go to the village. The village
Okay.
would have to vote on that. But at
Okay.
least now we can have more representation of what, we could really talk about the beach issue, because
Yeah.
while we don't control the parking, we're causing the parking issue based on our beach, right? Our asset is
Well,
causing.
to be clear,
Yeah.
now I want to be very clear on this, and this is why I'm asking.
Yeah.
'Cause you said it correctly, and we don't control the parking,
Right,
but I'm not 100% convinced it's just the beach.
okay.
It's the
It's
lake,
also our
it's the
park.
I think it's multiple, right?
It's the
It's
park and the beach. Yeah,
and the beach.
yeah.
But what you're describing is it's just about the beach.
No, I'm sorry. When I say beach, I
park
meant
and
whole
beach.
lakefront park and the beach
Okay.
and the ramp. So our whole asset there, that's.
But your point is correct.
Right.
We do not have to tonight prescribe the deliverable.
Right.
Okay.
I think, and I like how Nicole said it, when you come to one of our meetings here, when you go to the village meeting,
Yeah.
you have the ability to speak for 3 minutes
Right.
and you talk to a board.
Sure.
This would facilitate the community dialogue,
Okay.
because right now there are, and I've
Right, yeah.
spoken about this before, there are echo chambers. You've
Sure.
got group A over here, all talking to each other.
Yeah.
What makes me a little bit nervous is that as group A is all talking to each other, and group B is all talking to each other, and group C is all talking to each other, you have other people out there who may be afraid to voice their opinions. This is a free space, and decorum will be maintained here.
Mhm.
If it is not, we're gonna.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
this
we
is
all
a-
have rules. If someone gets out of
This
hand,
is the desire
out
to
of the
bring the
room.
community together
Okay.
so that we are hearing the community's voices and not the loudest voice.
in the room,
And
right?
I really like the idea of having it be a joint task force between the village and the park district. I think
Right.
that's hugely important. I sort of had this idea walking out of that meeting, so I'm really glad to hear you suggesting it. I wonder if there would be any value to there being some activity before September, in some ways to talk real time about the incremental solutions that have been put forth. I think that would probably mean a lot to the constituents who were pushing for change, to know that everyone's watching it. And of course we know that, right? But like, I think it would send a signal that like,
We're listening.
we heard you.
Yeah,
Um,
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And absolutely, we are watching
Of course,
everything.
we
I'm
know
getting
that.
reports. But I think if we start talking too early, we don't have
Yeah.
all the
That's
dates. We don't
fair.
have any
that
That
makes
is
me,
a-
Yeah,
that is a
we're,
great
we're
point.
talking,
Meg,
we're
that makes
talking
me-
to Phil. We get reports
makes me more
daily.
nervous.
We get all this. But with that said, is if, say we notice that that our move to 8 o'clock, there's still 300 people coming to the beach from 8 to 9, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll get those reports from the village, and we're prepared to alter our time to 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And say, okay, so those changes,
In that
but
discussion.
Yeah,
I
I-
don't want to say we're going to do that now. We want to watch it to see if it's really a need.
Nope,
The
you're right.
data pushes that forward. I think,
I had to-
my guess is if
had
we
to-
announce this task force and say,
that's enough.
hey, we're doing this,
I think
we're
you're
doing this task force.
Yeah.
And we're starting it in September because we want to look at all the data we have. We're going to continue to watch incremental changes we're making, maybe even make a little bit more if we need to, that 9 o'clock one.
Yep,
Um,
where we have that flexibility.
Yeah, we have that flexibility to do that. It'll cost a little bit, but we'll make that work.
Yeah.
And then we'll look to see if there's anything else that, as we talk to the village, and we've been talking to them, like every other day lately. But
Right.
we get reports nightly on what happened the
Yeah.
night before, so we can kind of watch and study that and look at that.
Right.
So
How was this task force chosen?
they would
apply.
we're still working out the details, so I'm not going to really say right now because we have to formulate it all. Because what if we get 50 from this 50
Right,
things?
right.
So we'll look at what we did in the past is for the dog park, we kind of put like, why do you want to be on this? We look at that. Then we narrow it down and maybe just randomly pick. But I don't want to put that on record yet because we haven't worked that out.
Gary,
I-
it's
So
an
we will.
application process.
it's
It is,
application.
we will design, or the
Yep.
board will,
With the
the
village.
staff will design it. That's what, and I always say this is what they're paid to do. They can design it. It will not hold water if it's 12 residents on Longwood Avenue. So
course.
the goal is to get,
Yep.
I want
Who's
to,
selecting ultimately?
Are
that's
we-
what I'm saying.
Ultimately, the board would approve.
yeah,
who was
ultimately we approve. the
Slated just
selections.
like the
Yes.
Lakefront Advisory
Remember,
Committee.
everything
Yeah.
has to come through us.
Okay, I'm trying to
And the
understand.
village will say, this is who we're recommending to slate. And
You'll do a joint
sometimes it might be a
section?
random pick, if we have really 5 good ones. We've done that with the advisory committee before. We had really good people and we're like, okay, now we're going to randomly pick. And I realize that not everybody will be happy because this is such a big issue. Everybody will want to be on it. The dog park, we kind of had the same thing, probably not as many, but we probably had double of what we needed.
Oh my gosh.
But
that
you
was-
have to keep it at 11.
I got rejected from the dog park.
Oh.
You-
But-
I still think
Okay.
about it.
Okay.
She was
Meg-
randomly chosen.
Meg, we apologize for your rejection. So, here's the truth behind this. One,
Oh my God.
I
that's
do
crazy.
not
And it-
want to undermine our initiatives
Yes.
or the village's initiatives. I do think we owe it a full test of this summer.
Yes.
I think this is a
right.
unique summer
Yes.
that we're going to close on September 1
Right.
or September whatever,
Yep.
We have a
so-
Given-
nice,
given the thing.
Fine.
So
Yeah.
I think announcing the task force comes to existence sooner rather than later
Yep.
is helpful. I also do not want to distract staff during the summer
from running the beach.
from running the beach in
Yeah.
our most
Camp
important season
And everything else.
and camps. So like
A lot
we have to balance those 3 things out. And so I think this is a really good idea. I think the devil is in the details.
Yes.
And I'll ask that you please keep us informed on steps along the way
Yes.
Yep.
as to how you are forming this, how the village receives it, and how, and what the charge, again, going back to like the jury charge, what the jury charge is, like, what are we asking them to
Yeah.
solve?
I'm gonna be, I am so, man, I feel like the Debbie Downer today. I am in favor with a lot of caveats.
Can you explain? I think we have to
Yeah,
Understand.
someone better understand.
Yeah.
your
It
caveats.
might be my own personal experience of
Okay.
having been on a task force, not for here, but for a different government entity. Where I saw issues is when the report was finalized, it didn't necessarily mean, one, it got implemented, and two, it went to the right key decision makers, and it fell apart. And what my big concern would be, given how hot this issue is and how real it is
Yeah.
if at the very end of it all, say we run a smooth process and nothing happens, excuse my language, that will turn into a shit show.
Well,
From
I-
what I
But
I think it's a little bit different in
Yeah.
a smaller government setting.
Yeah.
I believe that's the case because
Yeah.
we will have a trustee
Yeah.
and we will have a commissioner. And so start thinking, we need a really strong person who, you saw some of the personalities in that room that can keep decorum.
Very-
You have to have a really strong person. But I think that in a smaller government setting, I don't think you'll find that. They very rarely, our board in the past has very rarely gone against the Lakefront Advisory Committee because it's made up of residents giving thoughtful consideration. Now, there might be people on the task force that if we don't bring in every consultant known under the sun, that
Right.
might be upset because, oh, that's not valid because you didn't bring so-and-so consultant in, you know. There's,
Again, I might be the, again,
But Jackie, let me,
Do you know where I'm
sorry,
starting?
give me
Yeah.
30 seconds here.
Yeah.
I hear you
yeah.
because, if this, I do desperately think the residents need to talk. And I
they
do desperately think we need to lay the facts out in a,
Yeah.
in a really clear manner. And I've actually tasked Bobby and Lisa to start talking about how our facilities are different.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what you are saying, I want to step back. I don't want to solve the problem. I want to state the issue that you're saying. I think we need to ensure that there are clear expectations. And so what you are saying is we have to tell the folks there, you are working on a task force.
Yes,
We may or may not implement everything you want.
correct.
We will 100% hear you out.
Yes.
And so let's not try to suppose what is going to happen, but let's set really clear,
Just very clear.
Very clear,
Very, very clear.
very, very clear. It will be said time and time again, because we will not do it. And I always go back to that July 3rd or July 4th, where, man,
Yep.
we had people in here talking about this and talking about that and this and that. Ultimately, the board made a decision actually kind of against 51%, but because it wasn't overwhelming. But we let the people know we are and why we're doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to presuppose the problem. What I want to do is I want to think about what we can do to ensure that your needs, which are real, you are not a downer, you're a realist, are met. And I think that's through clear communication
Yeah.
and clear
Yeah.
expectations.
Because it's very,
we
it's very
will listen to
possible.
it.
Clear
And what if,
communication,
like, if
expectations,
they-
and
yeah.
owner, I mean, the owner of who will be the one in charge of the decision. I'm so sorry.
There is no,
I
there's
have
no,
PTSD from that one.
but listen, there's no one, I want to make it really
No,
clear.
no,
But if
I
they
don't know
come
if we
to-
made this
Lisa,
clear.
if they came to some consensus, let's say this group of disparate
Yeah.
You
opinions, like-
still get to vote on it as a board.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Vote
But
on
let's say they came, let's say
That
there were,
I
there were
think- that
bits
I
where they were just like at odds,
Yeah.
where, you know, they're just at odds. They're not
They're
going to
never
meet,
going to agree.
never going to agree as far as, let's just say, who could park along whatever,
Yeah.
one street. But they all came to a consensus at the end after hearing each other out that this other street, we could do X, Y, Z. And
Yeah.
they, if they present that to us and say, hey, we couldn't come to agreement on this street, we did come to an agreement on that street. I would think that that would hold,
Yeah.
it would hold more weight for me as far as, oh, okay,
You
you
get
know,
to
so that,
vote.
There's
yeah.
a very, and there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
very good
You're an
chance, I
elected
want to
official,
be
you get
very
to vote.
honest with you, there's a
Yeah.
very good chance at the end of the day that we have a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
And I go, that's not such a, it's, okay, the community's torn on this, and that's in itself an answer, right?
The
Okay,
community
we
was
don't change
very-
anything because
Look,
the
Community really
community's
is a tough issue. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not,
Yeah.
yeah, there's not.
very,
an
very,
obvious
it's
solution.
very real that you might not have a,
Yeah.
you know, a decision. The dog park was pretty, we got there.
Yeah.
But I think that was a little bit easier of an issue
Yeah.
than this one, so.
Yeah, I mean,
think-
you-
Yeah. Gary, you go. Sorry.
the question, I mean, let's be honest, the passion on one side is gonna be here and the other side's gonna be like, I don't think it's a great idea. It's not quite the same thing. I mean, I don't,
You see how it
I-
shakes out.
I mean, it's fine. I'm just
Let's,
saying that.
again, I'm going to beg that we do not presuppose
Yeah.
what
Right,
the
fair
issues are going to be. I think
Yeah.
what we need to do is set clear communications out there, Gary, and we can say, we want people on either side. We want people's
Yeah.
viewpoints. If it happens that it's here and here, we deal with it. If it's here and here, we deal with it. The goal
Fair
here
enough.
is to get people speaking. I'm not going to say I have a feeling. The goal is to get the community to speak.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But to hear them out and for them actually to learn more about how complex this issue is. And that's what we found the dog park. Everybody's just like, oh, just put one in. And then when they started really hearing the complexity of putting a dog park in,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I think if people are truly open-minded and listen, when we explain the complexity of it, both the village and the park district, it might open their eyes a little bit more like, oh, this is way more complex than just simply saying, no residents parking here, because where do we put all these cars? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So
So
let's-
that's,
yeah.
so that's the idea. Still have a lot to shake out. So I'm not going to give you all the answers tonight, but if you weren't in favor of this, then again, I'm not going to invest time because it's going to be investing time.
I'm in favor.
Okay.
I think you're in favor with clear communication.
Clear communication, owner, deliverable. Yes.
And we have to be responsive. We have to be responsive.
Yes.
We have to listen.
We have to listen 100%.
I hesitate, but I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor, for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank
That
you.
can go to consent. There you go.
I don't think, I don't know if we need to go.
I don't think we
consent
need to go to
yet. I think
consent
we
on
have
it.
to have a little more stuff to build up before we bring it to the public, but we'll
Yeah.
start working on with that with the village. So, yeah. Okay. Great.
Lisa,
That is
do
it.
you
That's
have
all my executive
add?
session. I have nothing else to add to this conversation.
Well, the sun has set on this 2 weeks before the longest day. Um, A big thank you to the three of you. We asked you a lot of financial questions, a lot of questions on operations, and then Bobby, your input is always as well. Lisa, thank you for bringing this. Danny, such a pleasure to meet you.
You
I
came
hope
to
you
an
stayed
exciting
awake.
long one.
And Erica, thank you for taking notes as usual. So, thank you. Meeting
Okay,
adjourned.
my motion adjourned. I need a
Oh,
motion.
motion to
second.
adjourn.
Michael,
So moved.
second, Jason, all in favor. Okay.
Aye,
All right,
done.
8:50.